Hey everyone, it's FLAK Fire. We just got our first look at gameplay in Battlefield 2042. While it's visually impressive, it's also got a lot going on beneath the surface, and there's a ton of gameplay information you might have missed, so we're going to dig into the trailer now frame by frame and outline some important details. This is not intended to be a video on everything we know about Battlefield 2042, so I'm generally going to skip over things that we've talked about previously. To kick things off, let's look at this shot of the map set in Qatar, called Hourglass. Right off the bat, you might notice it's set during the day. Later in the trailer, you'll see a night version. DICE hasn't confirmed dynamic day-night cycles to my knowledge for Battlefield 2042, but it looks like we can at least expect some variety. The weapon visible here is called the PDX-9 in-game. I find it interesting. It says it accepts both 9mm and .45 caliber rounds. It's possible you might be able to switch between those in-game. The scope up top is a hybrid scope. You can actually see this model down there on the UI. Plus, it's got a red dot up top for quick acquisition. The pistol here is called the G57, modeled closely after Glock pistols and equipped with a suppressor. Meanwhile, we can also see that the Little Bird helicopter has an official name. It's called the MD540 Nightbird. Developers had previously mentioned a new focus on vehicle positions in Battlefield, and this particular vehicle has a space for 2 passengers, a spotter to mark enemies, and a pilot. The HUD in the next shot reveals a bit more about how Conquest works on such large maps. There are several sectors on a map with multiple objectives inside of them. You have to control all objectives to control that sector. This keeps the action on such large, sprawling maps focused. You can also see it's definitively the United States against Russia. If you want a quick breakdown of the game's plot, I put together an entire video on that, which you'll find in the video description here or up in the right-hand corner on screen. Here, we're inside the game's AH-64GX Apache Warchief. This chopper includes both a traditional pilot and gunner position, and you can see the pilot is equipped with both dumb rockets and air-to-air radar-guided missiles. Flares make a return, and it looks like quick repair does as well. Looking at this, ammo count appears to be infinite, which means vehicle attrition is gone, and the weapons rearm on a cooldown timer. I will say I do like the HUD elements here. You've got a digital compass, and this image of the helicopter might also give out directional threat indicators. Meanwhile, the scoreboard on the bottom left reveals DICE is sticking with the familiar ticket drain method for Conquest in Battlefield 2042. For Infantry, I think it's worth pointing out the lack of a real compass. Now, I suspect elements of a typical HUD, like the kill log for example, have been hidden to make the gameplay here feel more cinematic for this trailer. I do suspect that we'll get a bit more detail, of course, at EA Play in July. That's when we're expecting kind of the full breakdown and reveal of Battlefield 2042 in its native EA showcase. The sniper rifle in the shot is called the TG-24, but it's based off of the Seiko TRG M10. You can also see from the HUD that the .44 Magnum returns, and yes, you can put a scope on it, as we'll see elsewhere in the trailer. Based on when this chopper explodes, it looks like bodies will be ejected from destroyed vehicles like in previous Battlefield games. The next shot gives us a look at Specialist Parker McKay's grapple gun in action. It's important to note here that he cannot fire his weapon when it is equipped. A quick reminder, in Battlefield 2042, weapons, equipment, explosives not tied to classes, but specialists have unique gear called specialties and passive abilities called traits. McKay falls under the Assault class. His trait is called Nimble, and it allows him to move faster while aiming. That's not shown on the HUD, but his specialty, a grappling hook, is. I will be pointing out some new specialists as we go along. As McKay rides his grapple up the crane, we can see this soldier has mounted his weapon bipod on the crane railing, suggesting that the mounting mechanic returns from previous games. We also get a front row seat to an execution, and we can watch the massive sandstorm roll in. Next is a look at the MV38 Condor. This transport is armed and it includes 2 passenger positions and 3 for gunners. The pilot here only has access to countermeasures. We get a good look at those offensive positions later in the trailer. DICE also gives us a glimpse of the massive sandstorm rolling in on the map and how it changes battles both on the ground and in the air. The following shot highlights tools players have at their disposal. In Battlefield 2042, players can call in different vehicles, like the Robo-Dog from the reveal trailer. In this case, it's a tank, and I love this rocket-arrested descent. That looks really cool. Inside the tank, we can see it's called the M1A5, so it turns out it is an evolution from the Abrams. The vehicle has a top gunner, back gunner, spotter, and driver/main gunner. It's equipped with sabot rounds and a machine gun, as well as what looks like a smoke discharger and quick repair. I would imagine we'll be able to equip other rounds as well, like heat for the main gun. I'll pause here to showcase that there is actually a shockwave when something large explodes. Pretty cool. The tank targeting UI actually showcases a turret angle indicator for the main gun, which in this case can move 90 degrees in either direction vertically. This shot confirms the 4-wheeled LATV-4 is likely inspired by the Storm Search and Rescue tactical vehicle, which actually makes a lot of sense for the game's plot. These vehicles have 4 positions, 2 passengers, a gunner with a minigun, and a driver. It looks like the driver has access to a smoke screen. This shot confirms that in addition to sandstorms, tornadoes can also appear on Hourglass, and it also features lighting changes when in the middle of storms. The next shot reveals a tactical sprint feature similar to what exists in Call of Duty Warzone. You can see it actually looks different in third person as well if we take a look at another shot. In the elevator scene, we get a look at what DICE calls the Plus system. This gives you the ability to change weapon attachments on the fly. I'm sure that there are going to be more attachments than what appear right here based on what we've seen in the trailer. There's been a lot of different sights and other attachments, so you probably, I'm guessing, pick 3 attachments for your sight, magazine, underbarrel, and barrel for quick swaps. There are a couple of new attachments here as well. You can see a stubby grip and a drum magazine. Once you change your attachments, your HUD display for the weapon changes along with it. Next, we see Sticky C4 is making a comeback. The detonator actually has a max distance indicator set to 9 kilometers. I don't think the maps have a width greater than 9 kilometers, so it's probably just for show here. However, there is a distance indicator for proximity to explosives. I also want to point out I haven't seen anyone discuss how a 4x4 actually got to the top of a building. I would say it's likely it was called in either via airdrop, or it means you can fit it in an elevator, similar to a previous Battlefield 4 trailer. A side note, devs say you can shoot and destroy airdrops called in by other players. Here we see Ziplines make a return. These were one of my most favorite things in Hardline, though in Battlefield 2042 it looks like they are static on the maps instead of being placed by players, unless that happens to be maybe another specialist gadget or perhaps a battle pickup. Battle pickups are not confirmed in this game. I didn't see anything on the radar for this trailer to indicate that they are there, just some speculation. A cool little detail here, on the zipline you can spot a series of lights along the weapon rail. This is actually a cutting-edge auxiliary power system to kick in if the scope's battery fails. On the rooftop, if you keep an eye on the radar, you'll notice that your mini-map reveals an enemy position if you're looking in their direction. It's not immediately clear if this information is shared with teammates or just for you. You can also see drawing your reticle over an enemy results in visual confirmation of an enemy soldier with that visible name tag. Similarly, hit markers are also visible with an alternate color for a kill. Nothing new there, but it was one of my favorite things in Battlefield 5, so I'm glad to see that that is being continued. As the enemy helicopter swoops in, we see Floppy Ragdoll bites it, but in doing so, he reveals the Squad Revive is coming back to Battlefield 2042. The helicopter looks like a mix between maybe the Mi-17 and the Mi-24. It has a full complement of weapons and a drop ramp in the back, which we saw earlier. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be the Russian equivalent to the Condor, but based on weapon loadout here, that kind of seems like a reasonable assumption. Jumping off the building, we see the wingsuit at work. Just a quick reminder, this is tied to particular specialists, according to developers. Not everybody's going to have one. But the next shot reveals the actual name of the tuk-tuk in the game. It's called the E-Tricycle. Now, I'm sure it's always going to be the tuk-tuk to Battlefield veterans. We can also see tornadoes have a much bigger impact on gameplay than initially thought. Yes, they obscure your vision, but it appears they also scramble your HUD, including your radar. This might make it easier to use the storm to escape enemies or to sneak up on them. For this image, we finally learned the official name of the AK-style weapon in the game. It's called the AK-24. The next few shots show general pandemonium, but this one particularly revealing. It shows the Condor aircraft and its 3 distinct gun positions. On the left, we can see a soldier getting into the craft, which seems to indicate the return of those vehicle entry and exit animations, while on the right, this unidentified recon specialist is toting a weapon equipped with an FN-40GL Mark II underbarrel grenade launcher, and the main soldier's G57 has a flashlight equipped. Other new details from the gameplay trailer include a new vehicle, specifically an amphibious assault vehicle or AAV. You can see it in the left of this shot. There's even a new mini-map icon for it. In this shot, we get a look at a new assault specialist called Delta. While his trait remains unknown, his specialty is clearly a riot shield. Based on its design, it looks like it is height adjustable. On the far left, another unknown specialist is constructing a deployable ballistic shield. In the view of the launch pad on Orbital, we can spot a new infantry fighting vehicle clearly inspired by the EBRC Jaguar. I know for a fact its in-game designation is the E6 JGR Recon. From the looks of it, it totes a main gun and an anti-armor missile system. In a similar shot, it also reveals some civilian vehicles will be drivable, including this pickup truck. That's about everything that I've noticed from the Battlefield 2042 gameplay trailer. I do have some concerns, obviously, surrounding specialists. I know I'm not the only one who has that. I'm also curious as to why we didn't see a ton of destruction in this gameplay trailer. It looks like DICE might be going for more chaotic vehicle gameplay and larger maps over destruction, but I would imagine we'll get more details on all of this on July 22nd during Battlefield 2042's official showcase, discussion, big reveal event that they're going to have during EA Play. So mark your calendars, July 22nd. That's when I'm expecting to hear more about that. As usual, if anything pops up regarding Battlefield 2042, I'm going to do my best to cover it, so if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, and tap the bell to get updates on the latest videos. I've really enjoyed a lot of the comments here over the recent content that I put out. It's been tremendously helpful in trying to really grapple with everything in the game. So if you notice something, whether that's a weapon or a vehicle, maybe an attachment, and you know what it is and I haven't talked about it previously, please write it down below in the comments. That's incredibly helpful in trying to make sense of this wonderful world that DICE have created with Battlefield 2042. So in the meantime, take care of yourself, and as always, thanks for watching.